Yes, thank you. Mr. President, the senator from Alabama has a question that he'd like to put. I would yield to him for that question without losing the floor.
All right, conflict that is deeply rooted in many aspects. A conflict arises for the love of my Southland. I feel today that we also have a conflict in the America of today. I come from a family background that is deeply rooted in the Confederacy. My great-grandfather on my mother's side happened to be one of the signers of the Ordinance of Secession, by which the state of Alabama seceded from the Union. My grandfather, my father's side, was a surgeon in the Confederate Army. I have many connections through my family with the Daughters of the Confederacy, organization of Sons of the Confederacy, and I have a deep feeling relative to my family's background and what they did at the time that they thought was right. History, as we look back, always can give different perspectives than what existed at the particular time. But I revere my family. I revere those that thought whatever they were doing it for what they thought was right. But we live today in a different world. We live in a nation today that is trying to heal the scars that have occurred in the past. We're trying to heal problems that still show negative and ugly aspects in our world that we live in today. And perhaps racism is one of the great scars and one of the most serious illnesses that we suffer from still today. This organization has done a lot of good work. Its support for soldiers in arms in times of war and national conflicts, its support for the sale of war bonds, and its charitable donations to orphans, and the countless hours donated to veterans in our national veterans hospitals is certainly admirable. I don't believe the organization today really has racism at its heart or in its activity. But as the senator from Illinois, Senator Carol Moseley Braun, a descendant on the other side from those that suffered the ills of slavery. I have a legislative director whose great-great-grandfather was a slave. We were commenting, I said, well, if I vote for, with Carol Moseley Braun, my mother, grandmother, and some of them will turn over in the grave And he said, well, likewise, they'll turn over the grave who were slaves. We live in a world today where symbols do mean a great deal. They're important to its nation and to its people. And this matter is indeed an issue of symbolism that has been so eloquently raised by the junior senator from Illinois. In my state, we have a new governor. And he has just begun his term of office by banning the Confederate flag, battle flag, which is, there is a difference, from the state capitol dome, and ordering it not be flown there, but it still be recognized, and it is being flown from the first White House of the Confederacy, which is near the Capitol grounds. The flying of the Confederate flag was offensive to a large segment of the people in Alabama, both black and white. And I think that he moved in a proper manner to see that the flying of the Confederate battle flag atop the Capitol dome be stopped and that it not fly there. I think we do live in a world of symbolisms, and many distinctions can be made, however, between the granting of an extension to the design patent sought by the United Daughters of the Confederacy and flying the Confederate battle flag atop the state Capitol dome. But the whole matter boils down to what Senator Mosley Braun contends, and it's an issue of symbolism. We must get racism behind us, and we must move forward. Therefore, I will support a reconsideration of this, and I do it with conflict. But nevertheless, we must realize that we live in America today. We live in a world in which we are so proud of the fact that we have made so much progress in removing the ills of racism, and we must realize that we must move forward to eradicate all of these. We live in a country in which we believe that all men, as a Declaration of Independence, all men and women are created and that they're endowed with the right of life, liberty. And I feel like that today that this is a symbolic step. If we move forward to put the stamp of approval of the United States Senate and the Congress on a symbol that is offensive to a large segment of Americans, I think that by doing so, we will be not moving in the right direction, and is a wrong approach to the symbolism that this institution ought to be looking at, and that we therefore, I feel like this symbolism is important. We must move forward, and this is a step in the right direction.
Broadened from just a purely legalistic one into the import, the meaning of the Confederate flag in modern-day America. And when, by the time, how can I blank on his name? Judge from Alabama.
Not Sessions?
No, before Sessions. We used to call him Judge. And that's all that's coming to my mind. I'll think of it in a minute. But by the time he got up and said, my grandfather was a general in the Confederate Army.
Heflin.
Howell Heflin, right. Howard Heflin.
Yeah.
When Judge Heflin got up and said, my grandfather was a general in the Confederate Army, and we're proud of our Confederate heritage, but this symbol has no place in society today, because it inflames passions and and reminds African, black Americans of their pain. And when he did that, I think he must have brought a whole, to the extent that we had Southern support at all, he was really the logjam, the emotional logjam breaker in all of that.
There's nobody around to bring attention to what was clearly and obviously a mistake, what was clearly and obviously something that this body didn't need to do. I mean, that's really the issue. And I'd like to, Senator Heflin has a question for me, and I'd like to yield to him only for a question without losing the floor.
Well, Senator, I appreciate your courtesy very much. A very difficult issue, and you've handled it magnificently, I think.
Mr. President, may I ask the distinguished senator from Illinois to allow me to make a statement or try to bring this to a grinding halt, if I may. I would like to know how many more would like to make statements so that...
Without objection, the senator from Kentucky can proceed.
There's at least 3, 4 on the Democratic side and 2 on the Republican side. No, we're going to make a motion. Yeah. Okay, 3. So we have, would it be in order that after Senator Heflin, Senator Kerry of Massachusetts, Senator Regal of Michigan, Senator Simon of California, Senator Boxer of California, Senator Harris Walford from Pennsylvania, Senator... Yeah, now I'll get all of you standing up over here. I see we're going to have too many. I think the senator's going to have to yield the floor or get a unanimous consent agreement that after these statements are made, Senator Bennett and I will make a motion to reconsider the vote by which the...
Senator from Kentucky, I'm only yielding for a question.
No,
I'm not yielding the floor.
I asked unanimous consent of the chair that I might make this statement without you losing the right to the floor.
All right.
So I would never allow you to lose your right to the floor. And I had a unanimous consent from the president. I would like to put it in some perspective here, because at the rate we're going, it will be a long afternoon. Would the distinguished Republican leader on the floor help me with trying to work out the procedure here that we can get the number and make a unanimous consent shortly?
I certainly will, President.
Mr. President, then I'll yield the floor, and I'll try to work it out so that we can get to a motion to reconsider the vote by which the motion was not tabled.
Thank you. The senator from Alabama has a question. Yes, thank you. Mr. President, the senator from Alabama has a question that he